Thanks for tuning in to the Family Room Plant Tour. I wanted to give you a little update on how the plants in here are going and also how I recently styled a few of the areas. It sounds so fancy. I just sort of rearranged things until I liked them. But here I have a couple of terrariums and my string of pearls cutting doing well back here. But I put my plumosa in the pickle jar. I have a video on that on this side. And I have two ponytail palm plants, which I have just repotted. And behind that, I have a Schefflera. I believe it's a mini Schefflera, also in a terrarium. So I had that Schefflera for a long time, and it did a whole bunch of nothing, never thrived, never grew. And then I put it in a terrarium setup like this, and it is so happy. So at some point, I suppose it'll outgrow it, but I was really happy when it started to do well. Don't you hate it when you can't get a pickle jar open? But there you go. Look at how wonderful it is thriving in there. So I pretty much keep this closed. I never water my terrariums. It just waters itself. It's like a little mini ecosystem. So far the two terrariums that I did from different size pickle jars are doing really well. Maybe I'll have to do a video on putting one together because I'm thrilled with mine. Right above it, I have my Ripsalis paradoxa. And this one has kind of an interesting triangle shape. And I realize here the lighting isn't on this one so well, but it has a wonderful shape. And it's very happy in this spot. Kind of a wispy plant here, but it is doing well. And I just have that in a very rustic, homemade twine hanging macrame holder here. So I like to have hanging plants. It just helps you manage your plants better. You don't have to have them all lined up on surfaces or on the floor. But here are my three succulent hanging plants. The string of pearls, which has bounced back from its over drying. All of my plants unfortunately are next to this heater. So over the winter during cold spells, it's required a lot of water. And for a couple months I wasn't doing the best job in keeping up with it. So my hanging succulent planters did take a little bit of a hit, but they are bouncing back beautifully. And I have the string of pearls plumping out again. Such a long, beautiful plant. Very happy in that window overall, as long as it gets water when it needs it. And then I have the string of bananas right here. Over here, and that is doing well, and my string of dolphins over here, and that one's bouncing back as well. I'm so happy I could keep that one alive. That was my most expensive plant ever. It was quite a splurge, a ridiculous splurge, and you know, I just decided to go for it. It was so interesting. We plant lovers are crazy at times, I guess. And then in this corner, I have my fiddle leaf figs, and they're doing well. Now, that being said, I had them out in the summertime, and they bushed out incredibly. When I brought them in the fall, they lost a lot of leaves, which is typical with the change of environment and also typical to ficus trees in general. So my thought is I'm going to keep them in all the time and not bring them in and out and put them through the stress of an environment change. I've decided it's just wiser to keep them here in this window and let them thrive at their own pace than try to boost, you know, any growth or development with a tropical outdoor spell over the summer. I just think it's better than stressing it out. So let me know what you guys think. If you think that's a good decision on my part, I think I'm letting them stay put. And then over here, I have a beautiful peace lily. And this one, I do have to water it almost every other day. Again, it's right near a heat source. But this is a wonderful plant for beginners because it will droop and let you know that it needs water, and then bounce right back as soon as you give it water. So this is a plant that you should not be able to kill from overwatering because it will communicate its needs very readily. I highly recommend that one. And then I have a ponytail palm, which I just moved over here. It was previously in the kitchen on my cabinet, not getting much sun. But now that spring is back, I've brought it down. I'm giving it more water and more sunshine. It seems happy in the mix here. And then this is my baby fiddle leaf fig, which lost all but 2 leaves in the shock of coming indoors. But I was happy to see this week that it has a new baby leaf coming. And then I just have a few little succulent planters down here doing just fine, kind of minding their own business. I like those. And just a few days ago I put some Enjoy Pothos in the bottom of my fiddle leaf fig planter. And that's coexisting with another plant of pothos. And then down here I have a Scindapsus, I believe it's a Scindapsus picta, and that's a beautiful plant. This one I had to move around to a few different places, but I finally found a good place for it. And if you can tell, it doesn't get a lot of direct sunlight, but it's in bright indirect sunlight with maybe just a small bit of direct sunlight at one part of the day. But whatever the condition is, it likes it in this spot. So I'm happy that that worked out. It's a beautiful plant. And then let me just show you behind me. I have a couple more things. So I have 2 wonderful sansevierias here. And gosh, I've forgotten their names. I know this is the Moonbeam Sansevieria. It's almost hard to tell in the sunlight, but the new growth is much lighter. I'm going to move it over here. That's a little bit easier to tell. So that's, I believe, the Moonbeam Sansevieria or Moonshine, but the new growth is always a much lighter color than the previous growth. It's more green, and this is more almost a light white green. And then this one is another Sansevieria here, and gosh, I should have looked up the name before I started this, but it's one of the variegated type, and it is such a hardy, wonderful plant. It enjoys this spot very much. And then this one over here is a Peperomia obtusa folia, meaning oval leaves. And that one is just starting to do well. I also moved that, and it seems to like its new spot. So that's doing very well. And then here's my Gymnocalycium, which I just did a video on where I took seeds from its seed pod. And I'll give you a little peek at the babies. Here they are, thriving, happy in this little sunny area. And then I have one more. I'll show you over here. Sorry if the camera's wobbly. Oh, I have 2 more. So this one's kind of scraggly, but this is a beautiful color. It's, I believe, the Limelight Dracaena, and that is beautiful. And my daughter gave me that about 6 years ago, so that likes that spot very much. And then I have one more over here, and that is the Monstera Deliciosa, and that one is taking over this corner of the television, and it is very happy in this spot. Gets a lot of bright indirect sunlight and bright light and a tiny bit of direct sunlight in the late afternoon, and that seems to be the perfect condition for it. So isn't that beautiful, guys? Look at the shape of that leaf. But that's it. That concludes my tour of the family room plants. And I'm happy to tell you everything is doing well or pretty well. So that is the update before spring and summer. And I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and subscribing. Bye.